Hey there, tarot people. How's it going today? I tried to light this earlier, but this lighter just ain't cutting it. I miss torching. um, so today I want to talk about guilt, shame. We feel a lot of these things fairly often just because that's the nature of humanity, in a sense of where we live in a world that makes us feel not good enough. We live in a world that makes us feel like what we do, what we think, what we feel is unsubstantiated and tells us to fall in line. Now, I tend to be a little bit more rebellious, so for me that's particularly harsh. But I feel like sometimes, even though people think I'm just, bananas, go crazy, I'm a visionary in a sense where I refuse to follow the status quo. Now, whether or not that gets me in trouble is a different story. I've learned how to have to work with the system, and I was having discussion with somebody about the new marijuana industry that is now partially legal in Washington. It's definitely the age-old story of being a rebel, but having to work within the system and figuring out a way how to fight the powers that be secretly within. Now, this can cause a lot of anguish and stress because putting up with, daily bombardment of the opposition can wear a person completely down to nothing. And it's definitely a task to be taken on. Now, life is a game, but nobody gets out of that game in their body. This is the game. And I think every day we fight against ourselves, in a sense. We forget who we are and what we're capable of, because of the definition that is outside of us and not what's within us. I mean, spiritually we'll go on. Next life, regeneration, in my opinion. Other people may have different ones, but why spend so much time in this life trying to change this and spend more time trying to change, well, not this particularly because this is lovely, but change the world around you. Set an example. Be the example. Now, I know that a lot of times it comes with a very heavy price, but that is what working within the system helps. And I know that sometimes working within the system we have to make compromises to our integrity, and it can be reprehensible in a sense that we've had to do things that didn't comply with our morality and moral code and what we know is right in our hearts. What comes to mind right now is um, sometimes you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, and it's definitely true. Just depends on where your borderline and moral code is. We all have different moral codes, and we all have different understandings of the world around us, and I think that's a really important thing. But I think it's important for all of us to play by the rules and work together against the powers that are not following rules and working against us. A spiritist. Well, yeah, I guess. I think there's a lot of things that people will say out there, and a lot of things that resonate with certain people on certain levels. But you just have to remember, what level are they resonating on, and what are they resonating out of love, or are they resonating out of anger, spite, or hatred? And what does that trigger within you? I think that's when we can start to define our boundaries and our gray areas and our black and white areas, and because it's really, there's very little black and white and there's a lot of gray. It's hard to think of it in those terms because we like to think of things in black and white, and there are some things that are definitely very black and white. But some people have more than others. It's all a spectrum, right? I think I've mentioned that about sexuality, but it's definitely, you know, and everyone has a different spectrum, right? So why impose your spectrum upon another person's and make laws and regulations and rules about it? Really love it when some cards jump out. It is hard to be a spiritual being in this world, with so many different gray areas that you have to come in contact with. But I feel like as long as you can remember the golden rule of love thyself, love thy neighbor, love thy planet. That's my golden rule. Some people might have a destroy that planet or win at all costs kind of mantra. But I don't think that's going to get very far. And maybe that's going against someone else's spectrum, but I mean, the golden rule, I feel like it's always love. Love breeds prosperity and greatness, and hatred diminishes and destroys. The love that emanates from my beloved's heart is the light that stems from the mind of God, Goddess. Through each other we become one. I give thanks for the endless blessing that is you. Close your eyes and feel your spiritual connection to everything on this planet. To every person, animal, tree, and flower. Feel the ocean, the wind, the sky, all in perfect harmony, moved by one eternal flow of love. Surrender all that no longer serves you. Let all that remains buried in your heart come to the surface and be healed. Let there be space for new energies to enter. A new beginning transforms darkness into light. From a physical perspective, some relationships may seem less than perfect. Yet from a higher perspective, all relationships are sacred, for they can help us grow in love and wisdom. Love generates love. You will receive positive confirmation of this in the next few days. Keep on loving, and you'll keep on receiving ever greater blessings in return. The love that emanates from my beloved's heart. I think I already read that one. We have the Lionsgate harmonic on 888 forming. And I think I mentioned that once, but the planets in alignment creating a triangle in the sky with the moon. And it's going to be it's going to be a very crescent moon because we're almost at a new moon, but it's so beautiful. It's amazing when the stars align what can possibly happen. And I can actually see the moon right now from where I'm sitting, and it is just this amazing little bit of moon left, still being reflected in the daylight. And sometimes it's interesting if you think about the metaphor of the moon being a receptive planet that waxes and wanes depending on its relation to the sun and the earth and how we see it. It's always there, but sometimes it's not visible. And it's interesting because of the ebb and flow of our own receptiveness to things in this world, and the interlocking disbursement of our emotional being, and how it changes, and how we can feel one way at one point, and we can also feel completely different at another point, and how the flow of things is something that is one of the greatest challenges, I think, in life. Because if we didn't have the changing tides of our emotional feelings, I think that life would have one less layer on top of it. I'm getting a phone call. So we have the Magician in reverse, the Queen of Swords upright, the Moon reversed, and the King of Swords reversed. Interesting. So, the Magician in reverse can refer to confusion of abilities and direction, but it also can refer to somebody who is can be a deceptive person, or a deception of action. Somebody who is purposely going out of their way to create this facade of an action or a scene. It's a front or a lie that's well demonstrated. Um, it's confusion, and with the moon in there as well, there's definitely a lot of confusion and psychic maybe misunderstanding or um, intuition being converted or subverted in a sense where things are not clear. Things look one way, but they could be 5 other ways. Now, the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords making here is interesting because um, it definitely seems like there will be a mental sparring of masculine and feminine mental energy. And it seems as if the feminine energy is definitely upright, on par, not mis, not overly sharp or getting in the way of um, delivering the information. But I believe the masculine, more directed energy is very stubborn. It's going to be very plowing through this way, my way. And it's interesting because we have the magician. So perhaps the receptive energy is trying to be on the level, and the masculine energy is coming in and saying, no, I need it this way, regardless of the understanding. And perhaps that's making things unclear emotionally. Now we have the 5 of Swords, so there will be there will be sparring of words. That is guaranteed. Whoever you are interacting with, you should definitely keep a cool, calm head, especially when receiving information. Don't always assume the way it's coming from. Then we also have the King of Wands upright, so I mean, definitely have fiery, congenial, uh, outstated, warm, gregarious, projected, fiery, action-oriented energy of the masculine type. And we also have the 3 of Swords in reverse. So it seems like there's some things that are being worked out today. And that's not uncommon, I think, for a portal, an opening, because it opens up a Pandora's box of things that have been put away, hushed away, quieted. And there has been disappointment. There has been pains of the heart, because especially with this 3 of Swords, we have 3 swords through a tiny little heart thought cloud, and disappointment. And it's not necessarily earth-shattering, but it's definitely something that, holds you to a certain emotional state. If you've ever had somebody say something and then you just feel like this pressure, I can't, it's hard to explain, but it's a pressure in your heart chakra, and it's like something has buckled almost and like shoved its way into that heart chakra, and it's like the energy is so intense and it can't be dispersed almost, but it's being dispersed in a sense where it's being dispersed in a hot white energy and heat all over your body. And you feel almost as if you're being knocked over by being punched right here. That's the best way I can describe it. It's not the best feeling in the world, trust me, but you know, it's it's what you do with that energy and how you realign and recompense that feeling by realigning that energy that's been completely just dispersed and overwhelms you. So I think that's where I'm going to end for today. I just encourage you to find the alignment, find the peace, the center, in where your moral gray and black and white areas are, and understand what you need in this lifetime to feel centered. And with that, I leave you.